Spice Girl Mel B plans to seek professional help after being diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. She says she plans to enter a rehab facility following an incredibly difficult past 6 months. Mel added, "I've been working with a writer on my book, and it has been unbelievably traumatic, reliving an emotionally abusive relationship and confronting so many massive issues in my life. Dealing with such stress and anxiety on a day-to-day basis can lead to addictions." And here to discuss treatments and ways to cope with it all is Sasha Dukania, a licensed therapist. Welcome, Sasha.
Thank you for having me.
So you work with Destinations for Teens in Las Vegas. What exactly do you guys do?
We treat adolescents 12 to 17 with mental health and/or substance abuse concerns in intensive treatment. So we do groups, individuals, psychiatry, the whole shebang. We treat their kids and we treat them with their families.
So we're talking about addictions. Addictions is it's just not one thing.
No.
What are some common addictions that people face?
So people think of addictions as just alcohol use or substance use like drugs, but you can be addicted to food, you can be addicted to shopping, you can be addicted to sex, you can be addicted to something that changes your mood, that makes you feel good. That's the goal of addictions, is to change your mood.
And it's also just not one addiction. You can have 2, 3, or 4 of those addictions.
Yes, you can.
Is there such a thing as a healthy addiction being a bad addiction? For example, someone that is addicted to dieting all the time or working out all the time and it takes over their life.
It takes over so an addiction is something that takes over your life and you keep pursuing it even though it has negative consequences. So let's say you're addicted to exercising. So yeah, that's healthy, right? We're going out, we're exercising, and that's great. But then we're not following through with our other obligations. We might get injured and still exercise.
Keep on going, sure.
Yeah, so I mean, so then it becomes detrimental, right? So it might be good to start with, but if it becomes detrimental and it affects our life in a negative way and we keep doing it, keep seeking it, that's an addiction.
Let's talk about treatments because it's very common to treat the person that has the addiction.
Absolutely.
But the addiction affects so many people around that person.
Everybody who loves them, and people they work with, and people who rely on them, right? So addiction, like any other health concern, affects all the people in that person's life.
Let's talk about the classes of people that it affects. Everyone is vulnerable to addictions.
Absolutely. It goes across socioeconomic, racial. It does not matter. Addiction can affect anybody. It's a myth that addiction only affects poor people or people who are weak. Addiction affects all people.
Why don't some treatments work? Is it because people go in and they seek treatment and they feel like, oh, I'm cured, I'm over my addiction? Is treatment ongoing, or do you think, is it a one and done?
No, treatment is ongoing because it's a life change. So if you had a heart attack, you couldn't go back to eating all your fatty foods. You would have to have a life change, right? So if you have an addiction, you can't go back to, I don't know, drinking alcohol or substance using because that brings that back for you. Just like if you were not taking care of yourself, it would bring back your heart condition.
You constantly have to keep working on it.
That's absolutely right.
Sasha, thank you so much for joining us. We'll have more information up on our Facebook page. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.